Hello students, today we'll see the concept of illumination model. Illumination model is used to find the light intensity. It finds the intensity of the light reflected from any object. So this model is also called the lighting model and sometimes referred as shading model. So this model basically calculates the intensity of light for the surface of any object. So in the surrounding we can see various objects. So all these objects are visible. It is due to the light reflected from that object and it is coming to our eyes. That's why we can see all these objects in the surrounding. Whereas in dark we cannot see any object because of lack of light source. So there are various model for calculating the intensity. So there is a natural light source, that is the sun, which gives the light energy, as well as there are many artificial resources like candle, bulb. So all these resources are also generating the light, which are called the light emitting sources, and all these sources are emitting the light and which are going to the various objects, and all these objects are then reflecting the lights, which are called the light reflecting sources. When light is incident on any surface, then part of it is reflected and part of it is absorbed. The amount of incident light reflected by a surface depends on the type of material. So based on the material type, the amount of light which is reflected from the surface, based on the type of material, the amount of light is reflected from the object. So that property is called a reflectivity. So every object is having the different reflectivity. Shiny materials reflect more of the incident light and dull surfaces reflect less amount of light, whereas dull surfaces absorb more of the incident light. There are some surfaces which are transparent. That surfaces transmits some light through the material. So that surfaces, they some of the incident light are reflected from that surfaces and some of the light are transmitted through the material. So here we can see there is one light source, there is one observer, and there are some objects are kept. Now all these objects are receiving light from the light source and they reflect light from their surface. Whereas these objects are receiving light from other object also. So here we can see that this object is receiving light directly from the light source as well as it is receiving light from this object, and then collectively it is giving the light from its own surface. So there are many illumination model. Here we are going to see three models. One is diffuse illumination model, specular illumination model, and ambient illumination model. So first is ambient model. So this model is considering the light due to the ambience. So the light reflected from the environment are falling on the objects and then object gets to illuminate. So here you can see all these objects here. These objects are illuminating or having some light shade, light or color value. It is due to the ambience color. It is due to the background color, background light. So it is also called a background light. So here there is a concept that any object is reflecting light and that reflection is due to the background light or in surrounding whatever objects are available, they are reflecting light and due to that light we can observe some of the object. So here it is giving the constant color or constant light across entire surface. So in real time we are not finding such surfaces mostly. So if we, in our model, if we are using such surfaces, then it would not be looking more interesting. So how we can calculate the intensity, how this model is working? So whatever light is reflecting from the surface, we can calculate its intensity, and that intensity can be given with this term, that is Ka into Ia. Where Ka is a constant, it gives the reflectivity of that particular object. Every object, every surface is having the different reflectivity, so it will give that value. And Ia is the intensity of light incident on the surface. So this term will give the intensity of light reflected from the object. So this is the light intensity. This light intensity, it is due to the background light. It is due to the light available in the ambience. So this is a model for the ambient light. Then there is another model that is called a diffuse reflection. For example, there is a surface, there is a rough surface, it is not very shiny, it is a normal surface. Then whatever light is incident on this surface, it is reflected. So in case diffuse reflection, this reflection is done in all direction. So the light that is reflected in all direction is called diffuse reflection. This reflected light is independent on the viewing position. Viewer can be at any position. Viewer can view it from different position, but from every position he can observe the same light intensity on its surface. So here viewing position is not important, but the presence of light source matters. Whatever is the light position of the light source, it matters. So the light position with respect to the surface orientation is important to decide the light reflected from the surface. So diffuse reflection is observed in the presence of light source. So whatever is the position of light source, based on that this surface gives the reflection, and the intensity of reflection is dependent on the light position. So here we can see the direction of the light incident on the surface. For example, this is a surface. This can be the direction of light incident from the light source. It is exactly normal to the surface. Now this can be another position where light incident to the surface by making some angle. For example, it is the angle theta. So definitely in both cases the light intensity will be different. So here there is again the diagram to show the same thing. This is the surface and this is the normal vector. It is a normal to the surface, and L vector gives the direction of light incident at this point. Now here this vector is making angle theta with the normal to the surface. Now how we can model this, how we can find the intensity due to the diffuse reflection? So it is given with this, that light intensity can be calculated as Kd into I into cos theta, where Kd is a constant, it is the reflectivity property of the surface. IL is the intensity of light incident, and cos theta, it is the angle between vector L and N. If we consider unit normal vector and unit direction vector, then for cos theta we can write N into L. So same expression can be changed as KD into IL into N into L. So this is what the expression to calculate the light intensity when there is a diffuse reflection. So when there is a diffuse reflection, obviously there will be, we have to consider the light due to the ambience also. So we need to add both things to find the final light intensity. So after combining ambient and diffuse light, we'll get the intensity with this term. Now here you can see what is the effect of light in both cases. If there is ambient lighting, then here you can see the flat shading, entire surface is having the same shade. Now if there is a diffuse lighting, then you can see that shade is changing. Entire surface is not like not is having the flat or constant shading. So here the picture looks more realistic. So these are the models. These are two models, ambient lights and diffuse reflection model. The next model we'll see in the next video. Thank you.